chapter on Wattpad of When Souls Awaken and the first 3 on my Patreon.
Walker, get back here!
So, it's super exciting. And I am very happy for it, and I don't know what to talk about at this point. I mean, this is why I'm streaming ESO while doing this, because I have anxiety issues, and I need something to do while sitting here for the next hour trying to figure out and test run this Storytime Chit-chat.
Well, you could start
with my friendo.
Hi.
Davo.
That's me.
Hi, Dave.
Hi.
It is.
It's good to
I
be
can't
here.
believe that I'm planning on uploading this to YouTube.
That's okay. That's
I hate
good.
myself for it,
Listen,
but it's okay.
Listen, you don't have to hate yourself. I know you're going to anyway, but still, it's okay.
So really, the Storytime Chit-chat is really going to consist of me babbling while I run around in a circle on ESO, because I'm not really capable of forming coherent sentences, but somehow I've written whatever amount of pages I've written.
A
We
couple
got
hundred.
some viewers!
It's almost 1,000, I think, at this point, with between most of your stories.
Yeah, just between 2 of the stories I've probably hit 1,000 pages, but, so this is Storytime Chit-chat, and we're, basically I posted my first 3 chapters on Patreon of When Souls Awaken. It's a high fantasy world with, 3 main characters. The gods got bored and they decided to start up some shit, so they changed the soul of one person who, I think he's a teen at the start? Whatever, he's young. And, it results in some chaos, obviously. And the story focuses a bit on the strife that arises from these people suddenly becoming mages. And it's, lots of fun. Dave has been, a longtime supporter of this. He, helped me figure out and actually start writing. And it was really a coping mechanism. And
I could not be prouder. I mean, you've made a lot of progress in the past 2 years that you've been writing.
Yeah.
You know, ever since you started with Luminora and you just kind of kept going from there, I mean, it's been just fantastic.
Oh, thank you.
You're very welcome. I'm actually really looking forward to you posting everything up on here and to seeing, you know, the fruit of your labor. And I actually think that When Souls Awaken was a good first one to start with, just because it's got a good variety of action and calm moments, while, you know, still keeping you ingrained, I think.
Thanks.
You're welcome. So.
Yeah, so this is my biggest one is to just oh wow, sorry, getting distracted. My biggest one with all this is to honestly just have a community of people to talk to about these stories, because, you know, they're a huge passion of mine, and I know I ramble on about them when I start. So, you know.
That's okay, we like your ramblings.
Thanks. Yeah, I don't want to ramble too much about some of the stuff, because I don't want to accidentally, you know, like, spoil people. But, you know.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm just trying to get some attention here. Which is odd, because I never do well with attention. I fidget, I laugh nervously, and then I run away. You know, when they first dropped the one game, I'm trying to remember what it was, Outward, I had a total of like 10 or 13 viewers, and I nearly had a panic attack.
Poor thing. Well,
it was just a new game on Xbox at that point, so I'm pretty sure that's why I got the views. Because it's not like I had a bunch of followers or anything.
Oh.
I mean, that's a lot to me. There goes 2 viewers. Goodbye. But, yeah, we'll be streaming this until 11 o'clock Eastern time, if that matters to any of you. I know I'll have a couple of other people coming in to watch, but really, Unless they just joined in to see me play ESO and they've been watching me run around wherever the fuck this town is. I forget. One of the beginning towns. Davin's Watch, not Devin.
I remember
Devin,
this.
however, is a character from your story.
Yes, he
From
is.
one of your stories.
He is my little occult researcher who has ADHD because that was my way of exploring me having it, which is actually really fun to write, having a character that kind of gets so absorbed in what he's doing that it's easy for him to just completely zone out. And, having that kind of forgetfulness, but at the same time, having the knowledge, being really smart, being really capable when his mind is focused on something, it's just, he has those same challenges because his brain doesn't create enough dopamine, and I know that all too well. So he was fun to explore. I also write just like Amanda does. It's just the differences is she. Well, I guess. Well, let's do it this way. I'll let you explain first why you write, what your reasons for writing are, and then I'll kind of go on mine.
Okay, well, I'm not really sure how to make it flowery, like, all nice, despite my descriptions that I manage to pull off in stories sometimes. But, yeah, I started writing during a really hard time because my friend had been diagnosed with breast cancer, and it was, her life expectancy at that point was a year, maybe 5. I'm not I can't remember if it was a year or 5, but she eventually, it was quick but not fast enough for how horrible it was, and it was just nice to have some place I could escape to, and that's what writing was for me. It was a way to distract myself from the reality of everything, because everything just piled up that year. It was a bad year, man.
Yeah, it was.
But we all have those.
Yeah, it really was, but we got through it, and you found a really good passion throughout it. So, at the very least, there's a silver lining. I'm pretty much the same way, except the difference between me and Amanda is that when I write, it's more, I use it to tackle things head on. I will use my characters, I will give them challenges that I am facing and force them through it, or just use them as a way of kind of figuring things out. So it's a lot more personal, but there's a lot more, I guess it's a different kind of coping, but it's mostly that idea that, if I force another character through it, it kind of takes you, and it kind of puts me as an outside perspective so that I can really see problems from a third person point of view instead of from a first person, which I think really helps with a lot. And it does help that I'll give those characters different personalities and stuff. I think everybody puts a little bit of themselves in their characters, but I try to keep it separate. At this point, I've got a pretty good variety, I think, at this point, especially between all the worlds that I've got.
Yeah.
Which I think right now.
But
Oh, go ahead.
you'll be focusing on the Fuenian tales, right?
Yes, so the idea, my plan is to mainly focus on the world of Pacing, which is the first world I created. It is the world that I probably spend the most time thinking about. I came up with basic ideas for some of the stuff back when I was like a teenager, so we're talking more than a decade ago. But
Oh my god. You're making me feel old. I can't believe it's been that long.
I'm sorry, but we are old.
No, we're not.
I know. None of us has hit 30 yet. But,
We're just leveling up.
that works. But, yeah, I'm mostly focusing on anything. Some of my characters are actually characters that were some of my original characters, although they've come a long way and gone through multiple changes since then. My intention is to, while I'm working on the main storylines, I am planning to have a couple of short, like, little one-offs posted that just kind of gives a glimpse into the world. Just a few little short stories. It could be just a day in the life of a character. Could even be, in some cases, a few of the characters will have their origin stories posted up. And the idea is to kind of like prepare for the more overarching story that's going to affect the entire world, or at the very least affect the entire continent, because the thing is actually a single continent in the world of Destia, which has...
someone saying hello to me on the game
Yes,
there.
I see that.
I'm not sure what they want from me, but...
They want to stand proudly wearing their...
So, what were you saying about Destia? Destia. I've never say it right.
Destia.
I've called it and I've spelled it many different ways because we do collabs where he either has characters come into one of my worlds or my characters go to his worlds on various circumstances, and it's always just such a treat. And we're probably going to post some of them on Archive of Our Own, because they don't actually, the way that they allow original work is like yes, no. It's very confusing. I don't understand it. I tried, but I gave up because, you know, Wattpad is easy enough. You can find me on there as a hopeful attempt, just like, you know, my Facebook page and my Twitter and my Patreon. But I lost track of what I was saying. How do people do this and stay on track? Jesus, I'm new to this, so... but because Archive of Our Own, they don't actually really allow original works, or they do. It's really confusing. So I figured, hey, Dave, you know what's a fan work? Our collabs, because we're both fans of each other's stories. So we're thinking we might post a collab or so up there. But it'd be important to note that the collabs are not canon, and some of them are actually written in older versions of our worlds and whatnot, because a lot of them have transformed considerably since they were started. So it's been quite the journey, and we have hundreds of pages of collabs, most of them not finished. We have one or two finished. There is one that involves a character that I wrote named Zella. She and I would love to eventually get back to her world and actually, you know, do her own story, but the collab written with her is just fantastic. She's just such an anxious little cinnamon bun that is so directionally challenged she gets lost on the ship constantly. No matter how long she's been on there, they're gonna paint lines for her. It'll be okay. But it's all sorts of fun. But with Souls Awaken, you know, the story focuses on Alora, who is out as a, you know, trying to remember what their ages were when they started, but, you know, basically, might as well be a kid at that point, you know. But she's already got a couple scars, and she's struggling quite a bit, and but she comes across one of the other main characters named Flora, and they end up becoming really close friends. She basically adopts her despite only being several years older than her. And eventually they run into the first character that gets introduced in the story, whose name is Axis. And he becomes a Phoenix Mage because, you know, he's really got a lot of anger issues, and I'm pretty sure that they mostly stem from the fact that, you know, the beginning of the story, his father sacrifices him to try and appease Larsolus, the Phoenix god, to bless their crops or something to that effect, basically.
It puts a little bit of a
that way
damper on their relationship.
Yeah, so he's got some anger issues. Who can blame him?
Yeah, you know.
So Larsolus gives him the ability, gives him the power to go ahead and wreak havoc with his anger, which he continues to do throughout the story. And he does eventually run into Alora and Flora, and they become the trio. And I do have plans for a sequel for it that will follow the next generation of mages, so it'll be really interesting because as the generations go on, the magic will be more refined. It'll be less chaotic. At this point, it's pretty primal, but hey, Axis doesn't have any trouble burning everyone to death, so he's got some issues. But boy, oh boy, do I love him. he's not a great person, but you know, his friends make him great, so that's something.
He just needs a leash. That's all.
Yeah, really, he does. And it's funny because in the story, we started making this joke of calling Axis a dog, and we'd woof for him. We'd go woof, and it's just become this ongoing joke throughout every collab and everything after. Like in another story that I wrote, there's a safe word between two characters, and the one is about to beat the shit out of the other, and he just uses the safe word, and she gets so pissed off that she just leaves. She has no idea how to respond to it. And now that safe word is the same safe word throughout all the stories. It's kerfluffle. Because who the fuck's gonna say kerfluffle? But, so yeah, there's some interesting aspects. The stories are mature, rated for mature audiences. It's not pornographic. Sorry to disappoint you. I haven't written smut. Not yet. I don't know if I ever will.
Not yet.
But, hey. I enjoy writing those scenes sometimes as much as the next person. But, you know, I am more interested in the relationship between the two. Because I really enjoy writing these relationships. Why? Because I don't experience them.
Man.
I'm sorry. I'm really high on the self-depreciating jokes, and I don't know how to stop myself. But
oh my god.
But at least through all this time that I've done story stuff with Dave always helping and reading chapters after I wrote them to see if, you know, if they were good. And also my friend Austin, he's been a great supporter too in reading a couple of my stories as well. He'd probably read more if I sent him more links and actually updated them, but but that's my fault, not his. Austin is just a great friend, just as great as Dave here.
Yay.
And I have other friends too that have been big supports emotionally for this, like Kyle and Lauren. They're always there. Lauren's my waifu. That's why I always refer to her as. But she's great. I don't remember where I was going with that, but that's who I just, you know, we're only 17 minutes in and I'm just going off on every tangent. I do plan on uploading this to YouTube. I'm realizing that I'm probably going to have to change my YouTube name and everything too to match this, because I mean I'll use that YouTube to post this because I don't want to make another YouTube account. I'll just have to see if I remember the password. I'm sure I will eventually.
It'll all work out.
I bet you it's password 1. With an exclamation mark for security. I'll never get over that one joke. What's your password so you don't forget it? Oh, it's incorrect, so that way, you know, when I put it in wrong, it tells me.
I love that.
I know, right?
It's pretty great.
But yeah, so you're right, I don't stay on track. I just saw your message there, Kyle. I'm so glad that you're the one. Well, you know, Kyle, I don't stay on track because I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Okay, this is a test run. I posted it as a test run, and this will continue to be a test run, and I'm probably going to call all my other ones test runs too, so I can screw up then.
Consistency.
Yes, I do. I do run circles in all my games when I don't have something. So Kyle said, you know, I've come to realize
Yeah, I can
you
see that.
run in circles on all your games, especially when you don't have a way to follow. You're right, because I'm trying to focus on what I'm saying. I was pulling up a Sky Shard map so I could, you know, continue with that, but hey, I did a new outfit for my character. I like it. The pants are apparently from a event or something. They're skin changer pants. I'm not sure how you get that anymore. But otherwise it's just a wood elf and then I think Dremora hood. There's one of the wood elf tops. I don't know what boots it is. And then I don't know what gloves it is either, so I'm super not helpful. I am fancy. Thank you. But, so Kyle, as our 1 year, do you have anything you would... Oh, they're from last year's Halloween. Last year? But I didn't play last year, did I? Oh, are they just every Halloween event? No, probably not, because he would have said this year's Halloween event. I guess I did get on last year for a little bit. And I'm referring to this game. Normally when I get on, I've just gotten back into Elder Scrolls. I figured, you know, it would be a nice little place and to stream on because I can run in circles to help with my anxiety. So that way when I'm running in circles, hopefully word vomiting. Yeah, I can see this going very badly for me.
Hey.
Worst prices ever. You know, you should have seen just some of the drama that occurs in these zone chats. It's very interesting.
Oh, yeah?
It's usually hate towards new players. Which isn't very interesting. However, so I got here on election day. Not election day. You know, the day the election was announced. The results that predicted that Biden would win, blah, blah, blah. I really thought, I was like, let me go to the Rift. Let me go to Riften, because there's always people talking. There always was. And there still is, apparently. That hasn't changed. But, I really expected to hear people bitching and moaning or screaming over Trump or screaming over Biden. But what I hear, I go on there and I hear the real man, the UFOs. You got it. Just look up the Battle of Los Angeles. They were debating the legitimacy of aliens. And I just thought, wow, what a wonderful world to live in.
Right.
Like, all this bullshit that's going on, I come here expecting bullshit, and I get an alien debate. This is great.
Yeah, you
and
they were so
into it, too. And I just stood there, and I listened. And then, after about, I guess, 20 minutes or so, I think Austin invited me to a party, so I joined it. And then, you know, like, a minute after I joined the party, one of the people started running around me in circles while yelling something, but I couldn't hear because I was in party chat. So I was like, oh, I guess they realized I've been eavesdropping this whole time.
That's really funny.
They waited until after I was in a party.
Hey, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Hey, so...
yeah, sorry, go on.
No, go ahead. So getting back to, story stuff.
This is why you're here.
That's right. Yes, to keep you on track. I mean, I'm letting you do a little bit of rambling because I find it wonderful. But what I was going to say is, as far as your story stuff goes, let's hear a little bit about some of the worlds that you've made.
Okay, so currently, when Souls Awaken, it takes place in Vismundus. And it was one of the first times that I tried to implement a naming system that was consistent. And so I use Google Translate a lot. So if something really doesn't make sense or it's really off, please don't judge me. I tried. You can let me know if it's something that's horrible, because that's probably better than let me think, oh, this is a really cool name. And that's also how I ended up with one of the names that Dave just feels the need to always comment on, Gesundheit or God bless you. So, and that's Arias. I don't know how to pronounce some of the names I've made up, so I apologize for that. If you know, if you're reading it and you're like, how the fuck did I say this? Just say Bob or Bobette. I ain't gonna be mad. But
meanwhile, I'm here, like, you know, making like Irish versions of names like Chad, spelling it T-A-E-D.
Yeah, that's...
And
yeah,
doing
we like
it
to...
intentionally to bother you.
Yeah. Oh, I hated this. I was so mad I was ready to throw my computer. But anyway, so... In the world of Vismundus, whether or not you can cast magic is based on your soul. You're either born with a soul that's capable of using magic by having two parents, by having at least one parent that was a mage, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember. I think I have that on my other character page, the details of that. But or a god has to change your soul directly, which you see in the first chapter where Axis becomes a Phoenix Mage. And I don't know why I chose the way I did, really, to open up the soul door, so to speak, but, you know, it's from one shoulder to your opposite hip down the front, basically, is the line of your soul door in that story. I didn't really base it off anything. If it matches up, it's pretty much coincidence, because, I mean, I do look up a lot of things. I look up all sorts of stuff, and then I don't remember where any of it comes from. And I tried. I try to source things. Like... But anyway, going off topic there. But, so with that world... And for like the 100th that I've done today to annoy Lauren if she ever watches this. Because that was something we both hated during speeches at school, in college. But, what was I saying? So this world, the magic, is the souls. And eventually later on in the story, you'll see as other gods start joining in and changing more souls, you'll see one god decides to change all of his followers' souls to be able to see everyone's souls, so that way they can protect themselves, hopefully. And the idea is that if they can see the soul, if it's just like a green glowing ball, they're just a normal person. They don't have any magic, so they don't have to worry about, you know, some sort of sneak attack magi thing, because the world erupts into chaos with I don't want to call it a civil war because it's all over the world, they divide into mages and non-mages.
Things get a little tense.
And yeah, it turns into a whole war. Slavers, kidnappers, you know, the whole fun. And Alora plays a huge part in the war, in ending it when it comes, which is the, you know, is at the end of the story. Yeah, so I won't say too much about that, but yeah, she plays a pretty big part. So I can't really tell you much about the way that the world is governed, because I really didn't put much thought into it, because it really only focuses on Alora, Axis, and Flora, and their impact on it all. But, you know, later on they do end up with a stronghold and all this other stuff to fight it. But it doesn't focus on politics, really, or anything like that. Because, first of all, I'm not really interested in politics. Second of all, I don't really know much about politics. I know enough that when I took Politics 101, my teacher said, you know what, kids? We're like, what? All sitting there, you know, Obama era, you know, the election for Obama's coming up. We're all, you know, young people ready to vote for our first election at that time.
I'm not very into politics as the girl that was up till like 2, 3 in the morning refreshing the election results every night for the past.
I'm not. I just, I don't know enough about it, honestly, but I can't, like, if I can ignore it, as bad as it sounds, when I can ignore it, I ignore it. But, I mean, when elections come up, I do pay attention, because it's really, really important who's, you know, going to be in charge, because these affect things such as the huge issues like climate change and, you know, homelessness and hunger and all the other fun stuff, and not to mention human rights for, you know, people that aren't part of the majority, you know. But this isn't a political debate.
I didn't say anything about you.
But you should, but, I mean, Hopeful Attempt does support LGBTQ stuff. You know, when Souls Awaken is actually the last story I worked on that didn't have a trans character. All the ones that I made up afterwards has at least one trans character. And I have another story, and this goes back to your question about talking about my worlds. This, currently the title is War of the Dragons, but really it's going to probably be renamed as to Fall of Griffin, or Fall of the Griffin, because it follows Griffin throughout her life, and she's a dragon rider. But So that's a whole nother world, a whole nother mess of issues. But it was one of the first trans characters I wrote appears in that story. It's a minor character. It's not really noted. It's just Griffin notices it, but doesn't say anything. She's just like, ah, I see, and that's it. And because, I mean, as far as she's concerned, it's just another person. She doesn't really care. She's just happy that the person knows enough about smithing that she's getting a saddle for her dragon. Because she needed one. Like, you know? But, in, did I name that world? I probably did. I probably have a name written somewhere. It's amazing what I don't remember.
I did notice over time your characters from, you know, either the LGBT community or just even from like different minorities and stuff like that. Over time you've created more, and it's as you're growing. It's kind of an as you're growing comfortable thing. Me on the other hand,
well, it's.
Oh, go ahead.
It's part like. My struggle with it is that I just have such anxiety that I'm not going to represent it right. That I'm going to either overdo it or underdo it. Because since I'm not part of, like, since I, you know, I'm not really one, it's just I don't really understand it to the same extent. But, so I try to do justice when I write those trans characters or, you know, homosexuals or anything like that. Oh, fun fact, Flora, my second character that gets introduced in When Souls Awaken, is a lesbian.
Spoiler alert.
She does find love. Spoiler alert! But she is just a fun-loving little cinnamon bun of joy. The story does start off with them being younger, but it does reach them being adults when we get to the end there.
Yeah, so, unlike Amanda, I am extremely political with my writing.
Yeah, you are.
I mean, one of my main characters is an anarchist who, you know, his weapon of choice is a brick, and
his name is Eric,
and he's actually he's named after a folk punk musician that I really like that had unfortunately passed away. He's not based on him, but he's just named after him because, you know, it's kind of an homage.
A little tribute.
Yeah, just a little tribute. A little tribute. I really like Mr. Crew, and it's just they're an awesome band. But yeah, and of course, you know, his introduction line. Amanda, I'll go ahead and let you say what your favorite introduction line from him is. Whenever it shows up.
Which one?
Oh, come on, you know it.
I'm afraid I'm gonna mess it up. Eat my ass. That's what it is, right? Eat my entire ass. There you go. Or is it my entire ass?
No, that's right.
Either way, he's very vulgar, and we love him, and he smells like a distillery.
He smells like a distillery.
I think he managed to knock. Did he knock out my character? No, he
did
managed
knock
to
out.
Almost knock.
He knocked out one of my characters, I think, or something.
Oh yeah.
But yes, he usually he is not afraid of calling people fascists. He will throw bricks. He is very much a wonderful anarchist punk, and that is just he's great. He looks he's very gruffy, stained clothes, all that fun stuff. But you know, he's got a pretty decent life right now with the way he's going on for him. But he just he's into it. But yeah, my character, or I try to have a large amount of representation with my characters. One of my big things is I'm not afraid to at least try, because at worst, if, you know, I make a mistake, if people hold my, you know, butt to the fire, then I can go forward and undo those mistakes, or at the very least acknowledge them so that I can move forward and do better. I would much rather do that than not try at all.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, I'm getting there.
You are getting there, yes. I'm
actually posting my work.
I'm slowly infecting you with my politics too.
It just happens. It just happens to be that When Souls Awaken is my first one, because it's I've It's been a favorite of my mom and Austin and Dave here. You guys have all loved it pretty much. I do plan on, once the story is finished being posted, which I'll have to look at the schedule in a moment, but when it is posted, after this one is fully posted, I'm so sorry, I said that like 6 times. When it's fully posted, I'll probably follow up with a different story called Whispers, which follows a knight named Agana Gunmund, and she has all kinds of issues. She's very angry, and she can't talk. She's mute. So I really hope I did well with the whole sign language bit. Not that I like wrote out how to, but there is one person that speaks sign language, so I kind of have a dialogue between them. But yeah, so with When Souls Awaken, I will be posting chapters in advance on my Patreon, and then in the following about a week after, it'll be updated onto my Wattpad account, so that way, you know. But it'll probably be, after so much is posted of it, I'll probably just leave the rest of it on Patreon, because I do need support if I'm going to continue writing like this. But I set it up to be pay what you can, with some high tiers that I don't expect anybody to ever pay. Even though I have a friend that has joked about paying the $1,000. I would cry, I swear.
If I had the money.
If we all had the money, man.
Yeah, we
I
could
could just ran
spoil each other.
across someone named Hippie. It's not you, Dave, though.
There can only
But
be one. I'm astral
There can only
projecting
be
into
one.
its house as we speak.
it was a female character, so we'll see.
Okay, well then, you know what? Look, just her, there, whichever. Point is that I'm astral projecting, and you know they're going to become one with the rest of the hive mind.
So as of today, I have the first chapter posted on Wattpad and 3 chapters on my Patreon. The difference between them is that for the Wattpad, you can't use different fonts. So it is adapted for that, because the gods often speak as part of the narration. Like, they have their own conversation that, you know, other people aren't really listening to other than gods. And they're always like which one it is always denoted by a different font that's used. And I painstakingly chose these fonts because, you know, some of them I made similar because I wanted to show some sort of relationship, and one of them I made difficult to read because I wanted it to be difficult to understand what they were saying, but they don't come up till the end of the story. That one at least doesn't. But so if you want to see the story how it's actually intended to be viewed, then go onto Patreon, subscribe for one of the monthly, whatever you can afford. $3 is the cheapest one I have right now. And you'll get access to the Google link, which will show you the doc that has the it's posted by chapter, and you'll see it in the different fonts and everything. And for those who I'm not sure, I haven't decided if I'm going to edit it or not yet, whether or not if like, I have a Discord server. I think I'm just going to make it open to the Discord server will be open to any one of my Patreons, and if you're paying $5 a month, then maybe I'll have it, you'll have access to the Q&A. I haven't decided if I'm going to make that also accessible to the $3 one as well, but I'll probably just select questions and then post answers at every couple of days or something, depending on how much time it takes to actually do. But these Storytime Chit-chats tonight, we started at 10 p.m. because my story buddy here, Dave, will be joining me in on all those because he also has a Patreon. What's your Patreon?
I'm Hippie Ghost on everything, actually.
Okay, yeah. He's Hippie Ghost on everything. I'm Hopeful Attempt. I got Twitter, Facebook page, Wattpad, and Patreon. And Twitch. My Twitch is different, though. My Twitch is Alluring Night, because that is my gamer tag. and I had everything set up on this, and I didn't want to make a new account, if we're being honest here. I like that I set myself a tracker to go to, and I just completely ignored it. But yeah, so the scheduling for it is every other week. Starting next week, I'll be posting new chapters, at least 10 pages worth. I don't know how much of a word count that is, because apparently everyone uses word counts. I like pages. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. But, but starting next week, every other week, I'll be posting on Patreon those chapters. And, then the following week, I'll be posting them on Wattpad for if you can't afford to pay anything. You know, that's fine. It's a really hard time. it's COVID. It's a pandemic. Everything's going crazy.
Yeah.
If you can't afford it, that's fine.
Yeah, the idea is
we'll all get there eventually. Someday, somehow, we'll survive this.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, vaccines they're getting some pretty good progress on those vaccines. But, so any week that I'm not posting on Patreon, the weeks that, we'll be doing Storytime Chit-chat. So, not next week, but the following week on the 24th will be the next Storytime Chit-chat. And, I'll probably run in circles on ESO again because it helps with my anxiety and nerves. And, I mean, just imagine what this rambling would be without that. Yeah. So, and my plan is to try and post these Storytime Chit-chats on YouTube. So that way I can regret it later. Because we all need something to regret to know that we live, right? Is that how that works?
Amanda, no.
Amanda, yes. Which is another very good line from another world of mine. No, not another world. There is a character named Abbas, and she is technically insane. Her mind is pretty much broken. She's a little crazy. She'll kill you if you're standing in her way in line. Like, you know. But, one of the things she likes, she ends up with, a guy named Drake, and he just kind of, they really hit it off. They do well. She doesn't kill him, you know?
That is doing very well.
But back and forth, there's always an Abbas no, and she's like, Abbas yes. So it's become this whole joke between, me, Dave, and Austin, because those are the three of us have read that story, because I keep them to myself. But no, so Abbas, what I'm trying to get to is, Abbas is actually in Vismundus as well, however, she is in a modern version of it. So I do have 3 different stories that are set up to all feed into each other that take place in a modern timeline within Vismundus, and it does tie back to some of the events and whatnot that happens in the current story I'm working on, when Souls Awaken, the one I'm currently working on publishing. However, those stories are so far from being done, those future ones, but it's something I do plan to explore in the future, because it also follows another one of the, it's 3 stories that meld into one towards the end, and it follows Layla is another one, is one of those 3. That's what I'm trying to say. Can't talk, but that's okay. Never could anyway. And she is suicidal and depressed, and she tries to get through it all. She has magic that is similar to Flora. When you get to see what Flora's magic is, it's really quite cute, and I love the way that Flora ends up using her magic. She's a very nice person. She's a sweet little cinnamon bun. As she grows older, it only continues. She's not afraid of, hitting on any of the ladies, especially if they're tall. She likes those tall ones.
She wants you to step on.
She wants to step on someone that could crush her. That's what.
Yeah, that's actually more accurate.
But like I said, as a little disclaimer again, she is underage at the beginning of the story, but she grows up. The first part of the story revolves around their teenage years and whatnot, but they do reach adulthood by the end of it. So don't worry. But
Yeah, we generally
there's just
try
so
not
much.
to kill kids.
I mean, you're saying that, and in the first chapter, literally the first chapter of Souls Awaken, Axis is burned alive.
But look, to be fair,
He's just a charred corpse.
you were off to a bad look. Just because you're off to a bad start with the no killing kids thing doesn't necessarily look. People can change.
And he does. He comes back to life. Because, you know, phoenixes are born
Yeah, well,
from
that's
the
the
ashes.
thing. He
and
got
I'm
better.
really sorry if anyone's using the chat room, because I keep forgetting
Nobody
to open
is.
it up and look
I'll
at
let
it
you know.
on my phone. Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Because I know Kyle was a little bit here and there.
Yeah.
I'm really not trying to ignore anyone, and I'm really trying not to bore anyone. But, you know, when I upload this, they're gonna be like, why is this bitch just running around in circles on this? It's because I have anxiety, I'm sorry. I need something to do.
You doing
I
good,
would
Amanda.
like to eventually do one of these Storytime Chit-chats in a VR chat, because I think that'd be great, too.
Yeah.
It'd give me plenty to fidget around with. Just, you know. But, so, overall, I'm just really excited to get my work out there, especially when Souls Awaken, because it, you know, it's such a rough time. And, but another world that I had was Luminora, and that was the first world that I wrote. I plan on revisiting that story and rewriting it as a whole, because it glosses over so much. I could add so much more to it. There was a lot missing. There was a lot missing because I had just started writing and I didn't, you know, I didn't know what I was doing. I still don't know what I'm doing, but I mean, I'm doing it better at least, and I'm starting to accept compliments on it. So
Yeah.
go me.
Which
Woo.
is that's huge.
Yeah.
The key is to sandwich
but,
them between the cases of Amanda. I need you to add more detail here.
Yeah.
Although I haven't
Yeah,
had to do
so-
that anymore, which is nice.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean by
well,
you've
I've come
grown.
a long way. You know, I always wrote should of, and whenever I make that mistake, I cannot tell you the fire of like anger and how fucking pissed off I get, and I just want to throw my goddamn computer across the room and scream and cry when I, you know, just write should have, because I should have known better. Fuck me. Panda, no. Watch, I post this on YouTube and it gets instantly taken down for all the swearing.
Oh,
Because
you'll
I
be
don't know how to censor myself. Nah, I don't care. If it gets taken down, it gets taken down. It's an attempt. The stream should last, I think, 60 days on my Twitch. It should be stored or something.
Yeah.
But we'll see how everything goes. I'm tired. It hasn't even been a long day. Oh no, I went to the beach this morning.
You did go to the beach.
Not morning, because I wake up at 11. But
It was morning for you.
Yeah, morning for me. It was really pretty. And
Yeah,
I
it
mean,
was.
I can always post pet pictures in Discord chat and whatnot. I'm sure I will, because my dogs are my life. I have 2 of them. I almost said 3. I recently lost one. Well, I say recent. It feels recently, but it was towards the middle of the, I don't know, when things were still shut down.
Yeah.
But I
Or
have
no, it was
2. Oh.
before the lockdown because I was still
Oh, was it?
visiting.
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
it was last year.
My mic is about to die. Let me plug that shit in. Don't, baby, come back. Ah! Sorry. Hold on.
Do you have a habit of
Can't hear
hurting
anything.
yourself?
Okay, there we go. I'm not hurting myself.
I said
Not today.
no. I said you have a habit of hurting yourself. You know,
Okay,
just calling
this
you
isn't
out.
about me. This is about my writing. So,
Which are an extension of you.
you know,
It is
I
your
don't.
participation in the divine alchemy, Amanda.
I don't have a response to that. So listen to some nervous laughter instead. Okay.
I appreciate
But
you.
no. So when Souls Awaken, I'm just so excited to get it out there, honestly. And I know I've said this like at least 3 times so far in this stream that I'm excited about getting it out there. But really, I'm gonna consider it a success. just if I can get a few more people that, you know, people I don't know to say that it's good and not lie to me about it. Not that I suspect any of you of lying, and I appreciate everything you say, and I believe you all, especially with the way you guys scream it at me. I really appreciate that. It's helped me get this far, but, you know, I know there was something else I wanted to add to that, but I don't remember because I went on a tangent. And apparently I have, like, I was gonna say the attention span of a goldfish, but I don't know if that's even really true, because I know there's some sort of studies, but,
Unicorn of Halo
yeah,
posts a Gengar. I have no idea who that is, but...
Oh, thank you. I think.
Yeah, give you a little emoji.
I appreciate the emoji. It makes me emoji. Ah. Okay, I'm sure someone's gonna hate me for saying stupid shit like that.
You're fine, Amanda.
Can I jump off of here? Ooh, you think I can land in the water? Let's see. I've made this bad mistake.
You've made this mistake like 6 times.
Ha! I didn't die that time. So proud of me.
Apparently it's Z.
Oh, Z! How you doing, bud? Welcome to the stream. I appreciate you coming in. But yeah, so... Oh, one of the other things I wanted to say was that when I post the next... I am gonna... on Friday, I'll be sure to add the other 2 of the first 3 chapters to Wattpad, because... I don't know, just because I'm going to do it. But after that, it'll be, every other week it'll be posted on Patreon with Wattpad the next week, so that way my Patreon viewers are getting first look. Because, you know, I really appreciate the support, but I do realize that not everyone can afford to support me. And plus, you know, not everyone's going to be interested in supporting me writing.
Amanda.
Oh, my app just crashed. There we go. I appreciate the support, Z. But yeah, I mean, views and everything, they all support me too. Liking, sharing, everything does. Everything works, because, you know.
Yeah.
And
You don't have to pay anything to
my plan
support.
is, you know, if, I would like to make When Souls Awakening, eventually available to everyone without cost, but I'm gonna need some support before I can do that. And I'm not going to do that until the whole story is published for my Patreon Patreon followers, my patrons. I don't know how to refer to them. I mean, I only have 1 the last time I checked, but hey, you number 1, Dave. At least until I get a second one. And then you're definitely letter A in my life.
Thank you, I think.
You know, but on a really random side note, my initials are AA, so I was in front of fucking everything when I was like in elementary school and stuff. I hated it. Did not help my social anxiety.
Poor thing.
Anything else you think I should cover in the last 7 minutes here?
Just one thing. So, talking about just characters and actually talking about collabs and stuff. Just if you could pick a moment between either the collabs or your solo writing, basically any moment, to talk about, like whether it be just the funniest moment or anything, what would that moment be? It could be funny moments. It could be either the funniest moment or a moment that is just like a wow moment, and it can be anything from either one of your stories or from one of the collabs.
So okay, I'll say a moment that made the most one of the most impressions on me was, so I mentioned earlier writing The War of the Dragons or Fall of Griffin, whichever way I go naming it. But that story I didn't start writing until I wrote what's actually going to end up being its sequel, and I only got the first 100 or so pages of that written. I know that sounds like a lot, but it's not. I haven't gotten anywhere with it. But writing the War of the Dragons, or whatever I'm going to call it, is all stemmed from the one moment. Because she was, the main character, Griffin, she was sleeping under her dragon's wing, and she had a flashback, a PTSD type of nightmare occur, and it was just such, it's a moment where she loses someone, and she just loses so much during those wars. It really is a tragedy, but it was writing that moment that really got me. Like, when I first wrote it, I was crying, and I was just so emotionally exhausted and wiped after it. And when I was younger, I never cried at anything. And now I cry, like, when I see, like, a puppy commercial. Like, oh my god. How do their noses get so tiny and cute? And then I'm, like, sobbing. Or wanting to sob, at least. I don't really sob all that often.
It's okay,
yeah.
I'll console you after the stream.
Does it include chocolate?
Yes. What was that?
No, okay. So once again, if you're still here, my lovely people, my lovely viewers, whether you're live or past, not dead. I mean, for all I know, there could be ghosts watching, but that's not the point I was trying to make. I meant the people that watch this on YouTube. But, please, you know, give me a like, a follow on any of the things. Like, you know what it is. On my Patreon, Wattpad, or Twitter. They're all going to be at Hopeful Attempt. One word. So, the only one that isn't Hopeful Attempt is my Twitch stream, which you're watching, so you already know that.
It's Alluring Night.
But, this is Alluring. Well, if you want to know why, it's partly because back in the day, when you'd sign in on Xboxes, it was in alphabetical order, the profiles, and I always just made all my gamer tags start with an A, so that way I never had to go past my brother's profile or my friends that were on my Xbox.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm efficient. What do you mean you don't know what I'm talking about?
I don't know any friends that are on your Xbox.
Oh, yeah. Lauren, you.
I was being facetious.
I know you were, but I'm still calling you. I'm gonna pretend you weren't. You know why? Because fuck you, Dave.
Okay, that's fair.
That's fair, he says. He says that's fair to a lot of lines that I say. And I don't know whether I should, you know, feel like I won, or feel like David kind of thing, you know what I mean? Like, Dave, have some more respect for yourself, you know.
Oh yeah, like excuse me.
Go on, say it. I believe you.
Yeah,
You can
pot
say
me
it.
kettle. Okay, who's the one that has the habit of sending you gifts of someone spray bottling?
Spray bottle. Yeah, I know. I say a lot of self-depreciating things and jokes, but that's neither here or there. Anyways, these are the last few minutes of the stream, but yeah, I'm sorry if you tuned in to watch something happen on ESO, because really, like I mentioned 3 or 4 times before, it's really just a way to help temper my anxiety throughout it. Is that the right word? I don't know. Either way, that's the word I'm using. I question everything I say, everything I do, and it's just, if I can twiddle my thumbs like this, you know, give everyone... I mean, isn't that a pretty horse? Look at it. What did I name? Oh, no, you can't name your horse. But fun fact, everything on all my pets are named Sir something. Like, I think that one's Sir Firelegs. But
Oh yeah.
so I'm just looking forward to sharing this sharing When Souls Awaken with everyone, getting reactions, and hearing feedback. It's taken a while, but I've gotten more comfortable with accepting criticism as well, because I mean, I am not a writer. Well, I'm a writer out of fun, out of coping. That's how I got here. But I mean, I went to school for biology. I have a bachelor's of science in biology, so. But here I am writing and playing Xbox Live while I talk to people because I have anxiety. I also really messed up my back in May. Still recovering from that. Took me out of work for quite a while. I'm still not back in work. But yeah. So thanks for everyone that tuned in for the stream. I really appreciate it. Remember, give me a follow, a like, or whatever, or anything at hopeful attempt at, you know, Patreon, Wattpad, and Twitter. You can follow me on all those. We'll be doing the next Storytime Chit-chat will be on the following Tuesday, sorry, which is going to be November 24th, 2020. So hopefully I'll get to see or get to hear from some people then, or maybe not. Maybe people will just tune in to watch me run circles on ESO again. Who knows? But I appreciate all of you that... There we go. Sorry, I paused my stream by mistake. I was just saying, I don't know how much that paused. I don't know if you could hear me while I was saying, oh my god, did I pause my stream? But anyway, I just wanted to say, more than anything, I'm thankful for that. I am just thankful for the fact that you even bothered to check in. I really am just, this is really just an attempt. I'm trying. That's all I'm trying to do. All I'm trying to do is try, apparently. But, yeah, so tune in next time at the date that I keep forgetting. The 24th.
Yes.
And check
now.
Patreon if you want to become a subscriber and get access to the story When Souls Awaken as it's intended to be viewed, or view the adapted version for Wattpad on Wattpad for free. Wattpad will just be updated 1 week behind Patreon. But any support I can get on Patreon will help me continue to do this. So thank you, everyone. I love you all. Good night. Thank you, Dave, for joining us. Do you have anything you want to add?
No, that's pretty much it.
Oh.
I'm just...
And Dave's Patreon is Hippie Ghost and whatnot. I think you got Twitter too. He's got Twitter.
I am, yeah. Twitter.
He'll be joining me next story time as well.
But
and he's working on his own story. He talked about it earlier in the stream, which you'll be able to go back and watch if you didn't.
yeah, so I'm Hippie Ghost in pretty much
Tune into
everything.
later.
The only difference is on Twitter, there's a little line break between Hippie and Ghost, and on Wattpad it's real Hippie Ghost because apparently I couldn't.
You're already taken.
Yeah.
And bow.
All right.
All right. Love you guys. Good night.